Bundle offers you value for money by giving you a flexible weekly payment option that is easy on your pocket. The Pay Weekly bundles are a simple and fast way to save cash, especially if you run your life or business on a weekly budget. Time is money, and Surfline saves you a lot of it with this all new Pay Weekly bundle. Sign up to Pay Weekly on Surfline today by dialing star 718 star 77 hash Surfline. We're better together. So let me get to you, Kwame Sapon Asidu. And we're faced with a situation where some persons have taken the first shot of AstraZeneca. In fact, based on the the Ghana Health Services own calculations, about 800,000 people have one shot now. They're waiting for their second shot. These persons have become worried. They've asked the question, what becomes of me? We're told 16 weeks up to 18 weeks. Now it's past 20 weeks. And we still do not know when we're going to have the second dose. For these persons, what does the science say?
Thanks, Winston. And the first thing I want to say is that we should always remember that all these vaccines are under what we call emergency use authorization, sure, which means that for the next 2 years, we will be collecting data and trying to assess not just the side effects and adverse effects, but also what we call the efficacy and the duration of detection of the antibodies. So you are right in saying that when they first came out, especially with Pfizer, it was 3 weeks because they were certain that the antibodies were detectable after 3 weeks. And they had also proved that when you gave the second dose at that time, you extended the period over which the antibodies were detected. Then when by the time the data got to the UK and it was being registered, because you must remember Pfizer was first registered in the US. When it came to the UK and was being registered, they realized that the antibodies were detectable after 12 weeks. So the recommendation that the UK government gave was for a 12-week interval between the first and second dose. But the UK Public Health England and MHRA release data on a weekly basis regarding these vaccines, side effects, detection of antibodies, prevention of hospitalization, prevention of severe disease, prevention of infection. So what it tells you is that every week this data is evolving because they do not have that data in real time because these drugs have just come out of clinical trials and we're in the middle of a pandemic and it's being used. So the last data that was issued, which has also been published in the Lancet, shows that the antibodies are detectable after 45 weeks. In fact, this has been published on the AstraZeneca website. And there is data that came out on Thursday of last week, also confirming that it has been cited that the antibodies are available after 48 weeks. I have always followed the science, and often, as I guess I can share this. Winston, normally I'll share that data with you guys and say, this is what the latest bulletin says. So I have not relied on the Ghana Health Service information, but rather on the Public Health England, MHRA, United States FDA, and Ghana FDA data. Because the reason why I've done that is that they are regulators. And it is in the interest of a regulator to put out balanced opinion that doesn't measure or inure to any party involved. That means the patient or the public health, officials, in our case, the Ghana Health Service. So the short answer is they still have protection as long as their immune system gave them the response that was required when they got first vaccinated. The second thing that goes to their advantage is that I've always explained that when it comes to vaccines, there are two types of protection. Yes, the personal protection and there's a community protection. The problem we've had in Ghana is that the personal protection for those who've been vaccinated, even the 2 doses, has been obtained. But because the community protection is not there, the chances of them getting infected is a lot higher than in other countries where they are getting towards the herd immunity threshold. So even for these people, if they don't take the Johnson & Johnson, but enough Johnson & Johnson is injected into the population such that the community protection increases, it will also increase their protection. Not because they took a second dose, but because a lot more people are protected. And that is why, from a scientific point of view, I would say it is bloody-minded and selfish if you try to go for a second dose, because you are only decreasing the community protection, which would only make you more susceptible anyway. So that is how I'd explain this.
You talked about the fact that, I mean, if the immune system give them the right response, and curious here, what's that right response? And so if I didn't get the right response, what does that mean to me?
Winston, it's very simple. There are cancer, or has an autoimmune disease, or is put on certain medication that suppress the immune system, they wouldn't get as much response, and that is grounded in the science. But 99 out of 100 people who will be vaccinated who do not have these diseases, especially in a country like Ghana, where the median age, I checked yesterday, is now 21.3 years. We have a very young population. So these chronic diseases are not as endemic in our country as they are in a number of countries, especially amongst the young. They probably are there as you head past the 50 years towards our life expectancy, which is about 64.3 years. So for many, I would say they would get the right response because their immune system is working adequately. But for a few people, especially the at-risk population, that is why even when it comes to the vaccination, they start with the at-risk population because their immune systems are not as strong as the much younger population. For them, they might not get as much response, and their protection then is more concentrated not on their personal protection, but the community protection. And that is why I'm saying that taking another dose of another vaccine at this point in time, apart from the fact that Ghana Health Service doesn't have enough, data on mixing of vaccines, even though there's data evolving, you are working against the community protection, which invariably would protect you at the end of the day.
So in effect, we should think of, even if we have more AstraZeneca vaccines, we should think of giving more people the first shot rather than giving second shots to those who have already.
No. Let me correct that there.
Okay.
If we have more AstraZeneca, because the data is evolving, it's better to give those who've got the first dose their second dose, right? Because we've got the Johnson & Johnson, which is a single-shot vaccine, while we increase the community protection using the single dose. And then once we're gone through those who had their first dose, we can start the first dose for those who haven't got any vaccines with the AstraZeneca vaccine. Because the point is, if we get enough Johnson & Johnson, from a logistical standpoint, it is better to use the Johnson & Johnson than to use the AstraZeneca, not because from an efficacy standpoint, but because this is a single dose and the other is a double dose. So we wouldn't run the risk if there's a vaccine constraint in the supply chain that people would be delaying their second dose unduly, and probably will get to a point where the antibodies are not detectable, which would then put our community protection again at risk. So this is a lot of biomedical engineering that you're looking at here and there to try and see what is the best calculation to make. And I think for now, the Ghana Health Service calculation seems to be spot on.
Thank you very, very much, Kwame Sapon-Asiedu, for this clarification. We're very grateful to you. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me as well.
Right, so that's Kwame Sapon-Asiedu joining us, helping us to understand what the science says when it comes to those of you who have had the first shot. So many of you who've got in touch with us and have said, I've just been giving the first shot, and so what happens to me? There you have it, you know what would happen to you. But keep your thoughts coming to us. Text messages on the Super Morning Show brought to us by the Glyco Critical Illness Plan. GSIP, it's in your best interest to survive. And at Glyco Life, we believe this is the time to protect your future with our life insurance policies. And our products are designed to offer you peace of mind, especially in this COVID-19 era. So to our policy holders, your claims are very important to us, and we advise you to visit our offices or the Glyco Life website, glycolife.com, to lodge your claims for prompt service. We're surviving COVID-19 together, so please pay your premiums via your chosen mode of payment or by Momo on 0591 441473 or by e-premium for microinsurance to safeguard your policies. Our call center team is ready to support you, so kindly call us on 0202 222 113 for assistance or contact us via our digital channels. We care for your safety, so all our offices are implementing the Ghana Health Services recommended COVID-19 protocols. Please practice social distancing, keep safe, and trust Glyco Life to cushion you for life. This is the Super Morning Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
The theaters are open. The stage is ready. COVID protocols intact. All set for the first of its kind. Finest and funniest open air theater. Something must kill a man. A play by Latifa Bubakar.
This one, it can only last 45 seconds.